What's up, everyone? This is Anon. None of this is financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. We're just going to go over really quickly what's going on with Aterian, the stock market, anything that happens. Basically, I promised people I would come on just for a second. So I'll put it out there. We'll see who joins. Wasn't a whole lot of interest from what I saw. So we'll go ahead and keep it short and see if this one doesn't get taken down. So yesterday, I guess the stream yesterday for some reason got taken down. Talk. What's up, Jerry? What's up, Yes? What's up, Jay? We got 4 of us now. The party can start. All right, so we got some more people jumping on now. So I'm going to try to keep it short. I'm not going to be here all night. What's up, guys? Face Sweat. Good name. What's up, man? Hyun, what's up? Chris, bring out the scotch. Yeah, we need it, right? Stance, Anthony. Sorry, my Korean plan didn't work too well. I tried. No, it's fine. I was going to say, in fact, I think going forward, I mean, if we can, translate it into different languages, that's, I think, not a bad idea, because there are people out there. We have plenty of people that, buy the stock that are international. And what's up, RT? I'm here so I can say my name and feel valued. I can go to bed. That's fair. It's fine. I've been grilling. We had some hamburgers and hot dogs tonight. Have some beers. Try to, go over the week in my head and try to figure out, obviously Wednesday was a critical day. The stock market tanked 4%, the overall market. Then we came to today and, not a ton of volume again. And so, it's incognitus, all right? Is he jumping in? I don't know. He can join us if he wants. He's more than welcome. So anyone that was wondering who he is, so he and I have had conversations throughout. We talked about a couple of different stocks before, and he had let me know that he works in the industry, but not specifically for a major firm. I think he's in a family firm, and they do. I won't say what he does, but it's an aspect of finances. It's not, for example, he's not on Wall Street. It's it's a different aspect of it, but he's still I think licensed and all that stuff. So we've had plenty of conversations before. So maybe 2 scotches tonight instead of 1. You guys deserve it. All right, so let's see. All right, so what's up, bro? Shots of Henny all night. There we go. 2 scotches instead of 1. What's up, Apesmith or Apesma? What's up, Tom? What's Sergio? SWC? What's up, G-Man? All right, Alex F. Are my 2250 calls in the money yet? No, unfortunately. Unless you were playing those for IV Spike, probably not. Any positives going into next week? Yeah, so, I mean, let's go over it this way. So I want to kind of go back and walk you guys through something. So I've been in this stock for a long time. How long? Let's zoom out on the chart. I bought in around here-ish, right? I wrote it up, and I'm going to be completely transparent. I sold around 15 or 16 up here. It went down, and I sold, I think, at 14 or 15 here. because at that point I was like, okay, I'll buy back in if this thing, is really, going to take off. The next day it obviously like tanked, and so what I was doing was I kind of like, I still was going to write DD and try to, walk through the options chains. And if you actually read like some of my first posts on Aterian, I actually was saying like, I'm just going to call this as I see it. I'm not going to try to get like, real, like this is just going to be information, because I didn't have a huge position after I sold the second time. And what ended up happening was I started going, okay, so I'm seeing it's going down. I think this is probably like a, at the time, because of the float, I thought it was probably about like, an $8 to $12 stock. And that's what the fair value was, with that small float. And, at the time, we'd gotten off this was an earnings beat right here. So I was sitting there going, okay, I'll sell, I'll buy back down when they kind of get done shorting it. Well, that's how I started entering in, was probably back in this area right here. And then I had some shares, and I averaged down even more when it got down into like this, the 7s, 6s, 5s, and I was still just buying like some shares. This earnings came out, and the earnings wasn't bad either, and the earnings actually beat, so it jumped up, and I entered some more positions there, and it just kind of continually tanked down until it got to the point where I said, all right, you are now below book value. Book value back then was like 423. I started buying in heavy in the 4s and down, and so I just kept buying, because I'm like, okay, at some point this does reverse. So we thought it was going to be here. I thought this was the spring test. If you guys want to zoom in, this was what I thought was the spring test. We ran up, and then we ran into some problems, because this is when Bullard made his comments about that they need to do like large rate hikes at like 7%, like 0.75. And then this is when Russian troops started mounting up on the Ukraine border, and then they were talking about an invasion, and then Russia actually invaded. So the stock went down. Fourth quarter earnings hit right here. And it wasn't like horrible. It was kind of like a just neutral. And then we hit this low of like 210, and that was probably the new spring. And so we started consolidating in this range, and then look at this. We had no volume throughout any of this time, right? So this entire time we had no volume, and that went on for months. Look at this. Do you see any volume? That's where you see the volume, right? Right around there. Did I do that right? Hold on, let me make sure. Yeah, so if we... I don't want to do that. Let me just see if I can zoom this way without showing you. Look how much like little the volume is. Like... The volume on earnings was actually like decent. It was like 27 million. But then we'd have these little spikes here and there. And then for the most part, it was trading like 1 million shares a day, 1 to 2 million shares a day. So we were like that for a long, long time, right? So you would think, okay, so what was the catalyst here? There was none. So my point to you guys is everyone's like, well, you need some sort of catalyst. Well, that should be true, but there was no catalyst here. Like, there was no like bullish announcement. There was no like we're putting out a dividend, no share buyback. This run happened on absolutely no news. So my point to you guys is just because, right now we had a great gamma ramp and it didn't get taken advantage of, and that's fine. Like, we can't change that. But what I'm telling you right now is this large run up happened on absolutely no news. There wasn't even like a single thing out on Aterian, and it all of a sudden just got 150 million in volume. The only thing that happened was I wrote a DD that kind of got some attention. So once again, what's going to end up happening then is we'll probably see a period of consolidation, and then we're going to end up seeing, once again, let me zoom out a little bit. I'll do it on Weeble. Like, this is the weekly candle, right? These are the weekly candles. This is us right here. Still, green on the week. This had no news this entire run up. There was not one piece of solid, like, oh my God, that's the reason why Aterian ran up. So it can happen again. It's just a matter of they're going to put out, from what I saw, I know I talked to, I'm trying to remember which mod it was. I think it was Mom, right? Was it? So some of you guys remember I went over the float yesterday, right? Well, I was talking to Daddy OMG, one of the mods there, and I had him add up the 13 Fs also off of Fintel, and he came up with 25 million for the number also. I came up with 25 million, and so we were only using 19, which is what they're reporting up at the top. But we want to know why because they were like, well, where'd you get this information? I'm like, from you guys. Like, I literally saw this by adding up all your 13 Fs that you guys list on your institutional ownership. And so we wrote them back, and we're trying to see if, what's going on. Like, is there something that we're missing? Like, did they include numbers that weren't supposed to be there? Like, because they're showing 19 million at the very top, but if you actually add up all their institutional ownership, it comes up as 25 million. So that's obviously a big difference, because that's a difference of like 5 million shares. So like 5 million shares, if you took that off the 30 something that we came up with, then you have back at 25 million shares, and then you're about 40-50% of the float again. So anyway, let's see. What's up, random? Hola, and we're still good on this play. Can't be denied. Yeah, so I mean, as long as people are still interested in this long, we're gonna be fine. And like, if you actually looked, like, the OBV didn't drop that much. The the money flow didn't come like tanking down. Like, we're still basically exactly where we were. In fact, this area right here, I'd argue, is worse than we are right now. Like, there's a slight bend here. The money flow hasn't really moved, and if you look right here, like, that was the worst day that we've had in a while, and that wasn't even these last couple days. So I think retail's holding. Like, that's what it looks like, at least on the indicators. And that must annoy the hell out of them, because I think there's going to be some people that are going to get out. And there's going to be more people that eventually buy back in because they see an opportunity. So, it's all about, how this goes. And, maybe I needed to focus more on, the fundamentals instead of just the squeeze aspect. Because obviously, like, it's good and great, but like, if people turn and say that's a stock that's worth taking a little risk on, then 2-3 years down the line, when this stock's standing on its own 2 feet, it might be a really, really great investment for them. Or if you're only in it for the squeeze, that's just an added bonus. So I think that's something we maybe need to do. I'll try to put out something that's a little more classic, like actually going through fundamentals, actually going through the balance sheet, posting all the things, the risks, all that stuff, and see if we can actually attract some like longer term investors than just people who are constantly in and out of whatever's running at the time and trying to catch like 10-15% before it tanks. So honestly, what's up, RT? So he says, nice hot dogs. If you need to take some time off for the family, please not obliged to come on here. Yeah, I'm not going to be on too much longer. I'll just kind of go over the thing right now. I've been on for about 13 minutes. My goal is to be done before basically, what time is it? I want to be done before at least 10:30. So that's the goal right now. Yeah, and Redbox had the volume, and I explained that to you guys. Like, remember I told you, I said the warrants are going to be what they're running to, right? That's what they're going to aim for. And here's the thing, like, retail chases whatever's moving. Like, they're like a dog chasing a car. They're going to chase whatever is moving. And so they will get up here and they'll touch the warrants again, and then they'll dump down. Like, and that's fine. If you want to play that, you're more than welcome to. It's one of those things where, like, they're also going through that merger thing, right? So, all right. So, make a song about Aterian to entice the Koreans. Say your catchphrase. It is what it is. I feel like I'm the only guy who's not worried, mainly because I own shares. I hope I'm not taking this too light. No, I mean, I was going to say, like, Overmining, you're right. And here's the thing, like, if you own shares, it takes a lot less of the pressure off because theta is something that's a killer. And so, once you kind of acknowledge that, then you understand. Like, what should have happened this week was, this was Wednesday, right? Was it the 18th, 19th, 20th, right? Yeah, so this was Wednesday. What should have happened in this sequence, if the market didn't just crash here and scare the crap out of everyone, was we would have tested up here at the 410 to 420 mark, maybe the 430s, and then probably gone back down and then recovered probably on Friday and then pushed into the fours again, trying to get to that 5. What ended up happening, though, was the entire market crashed on Wednesday, like 4% down on the S&P, and it like tanked the stock, but it spooked everybody. And those algos are really, really hard to defeat because those algo bots, they're selling shares, and they don't care if they have the shares or not. They're just making sure that the stock does what it tells it to. And if there was volume, then we would have fought that and probably won. But we didn't have 150 million in volume. We had 4 million in volume, and that just absolutely got controlled. So, Anon, are you a believer in June 3rd? All right, so I've read through the executive order, and I didn't get the same thing that everybody else did. And I'm not saying that there can't be some sort of like catalyst and there may be interest there, and that interest causes something that happens on its own. But from what I've read, I'm not sure it will do anything except for expire on that date. I think if they wanted to extend it and actually maybe change like the language in it to like, then that would be more effective. But from what I kind of read, it was almost like it was just expiring on that date. It doesn't mean that actually they can't use the Chinese equities. It's just that the executive order, I think, like expires on that date. And maybe I'll have to go through it again and read it. What's up, Postle? You got your Manhattan? Drink the fancy stuff, right? My only question is the hedge funds dug themselves deeper. So I don't have ORTEX anymore. So if anyone wants to pull up ORTEX, I think it's probably about the same, right? That'd be my guess. It'd be probably around 40 million still. So someone double check for me on that. Sorry. I am writing shorts into DI this weekend. Do you think there's any sort of catalyst that could happen between now and... I don't know, Shameful. I was going to say I think that we're going to get a reversal next week, and it wouldn't even surprise me to see that Aterian takes a leg up next week because there's probably not as much options. So they're like, okay, we already made our money. Like, we can let it move up now. Like, yeah. So Jonathan bought some fast today. Hey, there you go. And I feel like we're just following the NASDAQ because there's no volume. Yeah, and that's exactly what we were. Like, literally, I put screenshots up in the Discord that showed every single meme stock was following the, like, overall markets tick for tick. Like, it wasn't even close. Like, it was, like, exactly tick for tick. Here we go. I spilled my drink. I didn't have that many, but I was reaching for something and I knocked it over. Hold on. Sorry about that. All right. Just see. All right. Let's see. trying to find this picture because I think a picture's worth 1,000 words. Let's see if I can pull it up because we exactly followed like the entire like indexes and even every like meme stock. It was all happening at the same exact time. Unfortunately, I chose really bad screenshots, but at least I can show you it. Like when we were just completely bleeding, so was the like BBBY, so was the SPY. It was going down these same exact chunks, and we actually started going up at the exact same times as like GameStop, the SPY. Like that's probably not the best picture, but I'm just showing you like all throughout the day. That's what I was noticing. Like they were just straight up exactly the same. So, yeah, at some point, as retail averages down, buys more, if institutions start buying in again, there's just not going to be enough shares, and they will have to move the price up to get some people out. So that happens, all the time. Is there any chance of a gamma ramp set up in the soonish? I mean, the next one would be, I think, in June. People rolled their options to June. I think for the quote unquote the executive order with the China stuff. So, is there a chance to play it really slow, minimize losses? Yeah. So I mean, here's the thing. Like our recent low was 210, right? We're at basically like 313, right? So we're about $1 off the like recent low. I would say that you're looking at a very little downside. Like, I mean, if we were sitting here and it was like $9-10 a share, and we know that there was a time that they had recently been at like 2, I would say, yeah, you probably want to buy some like bearish puts and just protect yourself to the downside. But we are way down here. Like at this point right now, I don't even think the shorts really want to short down here. Like they're doing it just because I think, in my opinion, they need to. They need to keep a lid on this, and they need to get retail out. They need to, they need to kill sentiment. They need to basically do everything they can to get retail to give up. Because this stock has a low float, and it can't be around to just, they can't let it hang out. Oh, here we go. Thank you, Rocky. He pulled up the ORTEX for us. All right. So, yeah. So they added a slight bit of, if we're trusting their estimate, they added a slight bit of short interest. It's still about 40 million. And everything's pretty much the same. It's still, like it's not sitting there at like 8%. It's still elevated. So, thank you though, Thomas Rocky. Appreciate that on Discord. All right, it's really tough. I'm stuck with Aterian with a lot of money and unrealized loss. Yeah, I mean most of us are at this point right now. I mean at 3 something right now, I'm sitting on losses as well, and I actually lost out on options as well. So it doesn't feel good. I do know though at this point, like down here, it felt like all hope was lost, right? And then this ran on no news. So it can happen again. Yeah, but here's the thing. Like the entire market's going down. So it's going to be hard for people to find plays that are going to be, unless they're doing all inverse. But here's the thing: you can get caught with your pants down on those too. If the stock, if next week runs up and you have all bearish positions, you're going to lose just as much as if you had long positions when it goes down. So, this is what makes hard trading environments, because it's hard to actually time and trade things, just because things can go wonky really quickly. Like, they pushed this up at the end of the day just to make sure that it didn't finish in bear market territory. So, and do you believe these massive runs happen because of retail or big guys switching around their positions? It's probably a mixture of both. It's probably a mixture of these guys are watching sentiment, and as retail is starting to come back into it, they might have said, hey, listen, we will pick up some shares here, and that's what they did. And so now they have an incentive eventually long to let it go back up. But it's also retail at times, coming in strength. And the thing is, retail comes and goes. So, side note, this hasn't broken out in the long-term resistance as far as a major degree. Who says it will never break out? I mean, it's broken out before. Like, I think that's unrealistic to say. Like, if you look back in the past, like, it broke out of all levels. Here, obviously, it ran before up here. So, like, right now there's an incentive, though, to keep the stock down. When they let this run last time up here, there was not a lot of resistance because there wasn't shorts in this play. Shorts didn't short up here. Shorts started shorting, like, down in this area. So, like, just throwing that out there. And then on this one, they were not, really fighting it until this is when they started really fighting. And then this entire time when the volume died, that's when they've just been, like, hammering the stock down. We finally got some volume again, and now they're trying to do the same thing. They're going to try to let it bleed. The only difference is, though, we're already down here this time. And if retail's sticking around and still interested in this. Now, remember, like, look at this over here. Retail came in on the second pump right here. And then retail didn't really leave in any large, massive quantities. And then, look, we got this other separate recent run up, right, up here. But retail still hasn't sold. And that's probably super frustrating for them. But it's still, ongoing. So, all right, so I got into this around the same time as Anon. Started at 6 when I thought it was an $8 to $10 stock, average down. You can see my post all over red today. I'm long, and we're around book value now. That's absolutely right. So, and here's the thing: averaging down when you're, long, and here's, nobody knows. But at the same time, they have $44 million in cash. They're not going to be doing anything crazy at this point right now. They're going to try to basically weather the storm. And the question is, but what's your resolve? Like, I mean, if you need this money now, then obviously that's not something that, you should be investing in. You should be, if you need the money now to, like, make a payment on your mortgage or something like that, then you should be putting your money into your mortgage. You should not get evicted or kicked out of your home, because you're chasing this. At the same time, I think if you're long on this and you are patient, this will pay off for you eventually. And that's why so many of us are here. And, if, some of us have talked about it before. I think people saw that Batty in the Discord, has said he owns a lot of shares. And, he at times had worked in the financial industry before, and he's in here too. So, he has not sold a single share, he said, and he's going in this long. And we're going to find out, All right, so I have some $3 calls for July 1st. Kind of worried. $3 calls for July, I mean, that's what, like 2 weeks away? No, sorry, that's a month and 2 weeks away. You'd probably be okay. I would think there's going to be some movement before then. Buy shares, relax, buy some dips. Don't put all your money into options. Yep. Let's see. I got AVG under $4 today. I don't know what the problem is. I sent you some DD on acid reflux in your Reddit, not medical advice. Thanks, Kareem. Appreciate that. I need to check my Reddit. I haven't checked my Reddit in like a couple of days. So if you sent it recently, I got behind and I had like something like 200 messages or something. It was a lot. There was a lot of people writing me. So let's see. I have some mid $3 average in my Roth IRA. Nice. Congrats. Anon. In your latest DD, you mentioned that the volume goes into the stock but doesn't come out. GME, ATER, clear evidence of synthetics. Yeah, so basically what I'm showing you is with these indicators, I called up TD for Thinkorswim, and I was like, explain to me how these indicators work. And so I had them walk me through, and I said, okay, so if we go to let's look at some other ones. Let's pick some random stock. I don't know. I don't even know what stock should we look at. You guys tell me. Hold on. I'm going to pull up my YouTube so I can see the more recent stuff. Hold on a second. Give me some stocks that are not meme stocks. Yeah. All right, let's look at Tesla. All right. Tesla's a little bit of a meme stock in ways, but yeah, they are a little bit. But let's look at this together. All right. So let's look at Tesla's rise, right? So let's do, this is probably fine. Okay. You see on this chart right here, this is your money flow is green. So that's the money flow right here. The OBV is white. And you see how they're both running up together, right? Until this peak here, right? And this is when the maximum amount of money has ran into the stock. And it's been pinned here, right? And it's still pinned here because even though the stock's tanking, yeah, let's see if I can go view. You know what? Let's do this. Let's try going from here to... Try doing a shorter time frame to see if there's... There we go. That's a little bit better because I think that's more like a year. So what I'm showing you is you see the money flowing in, the OBV staying high, and then you see it starting to slump down here when the stock's going down. Then there's this pump up again, and it pushes back up here, and then now you're starting to see the money starting to flow out, the OBV is going down, right? So that's what what we should be seeing. But Tesla's a little bit like a buy and hold long term. That's kind of how their investors are, because I know that because I am one of them. So that's probably not the best example. But let's take another one. Give me another stock. COP, somebody said. Okay. So let's take a look at this one. So we've got the green line here, the OBV, and you see they're kind of chopping back and forth. But you can see, let's see, as it starts going down all the way to the bottom here, it's now starting to rise during this run. You see it slowly rising till the top, right? So that's ConocoPhillips. They are... Multinational hard rock hydro. So it's energy, right? Yeah, and energy goes up typically when the markets go down. So that makes sense. So, but look at this, right? You see them running kind of together during these phases, right? But you see here, when the money's really flowing into it and staying in it, it's staying elevated. Because right now we're hitting the all-time highs, or at least the recent highs. So let's look at another one. Give me another ticker. We're just comparing basically all these different ones. T. So AT&T. All right, AT&T. You see money flowing in up here, money flowing in. Then money starts flowing out here, right? Money's flowing out during this time frame, kind of like consolidating and all in this range. And then it's taking this lower leg down here. The money gets down to the bottom of it and had that spike and then back down, and now it's starting to rise up again, right? So that's AT&T. This is how these things should look. So let's pull up meme tickers. GME. Here's GME. We have this run up here. The stock goes up, and it just stays up the entire time for the OBV and the money flow. And when I asked TD, and I asked a couple of people inside the chat, in the support, in the support rooms, I'm like, someone explain to me how this happens. Like on all these other normal tickers, money flows in, money flows out. But every single meme stock, the money flows in and it never flows out, but the price tanks. And they were like, well, and I kept saying, well, they're like, well, that's a bit unusual. I'm like, well, yeah, but like, that's AMC. Let's pull up. Yeah, here's AMC. Look, the money flows in, never flows out. Stock goes down. Let's look at BBBY. Look at this. Money flows in, right? Money flows in. Money stays in, takes this little hit here, right? Still acting pretty normal, but over the last couple, it's just now, look, the OBV and the money flow are up, but the stock is like tanking right now. And you look at this, like I'm actually looking at this, like the MACD is starting to cross over here, right? Zoom out a little bit. Yeah, the MACD is starting to cross over here. This looks like another stock that's being highly manipulated. Like money flow, OBV, still very much up here. Let's look at BlackBerry. Look at that. Same thing. Money goes up, money goes up, money stays in, stock is slumping. Like, it seems like every single one of these, but if you look at any like normal ticker, BBBB or BBIG is the same thing. Like, it's going to look exactly like all these other meme stocks. The money's going to flow in and it will stay elevated. Like, my point to you guys is I've been looking at this and I'm going, I can't figure out why it's only the meme stocks because it's probably, and I think it's showing you that there might be more shares floating out there than are supposed to be, and that retail has not sold out in massive quantities to drop these down like it does on regular stocks. Like look at this. Money flows down, up, it goes down here, it goes down, goes up here. It's going in, like, it's moving. I don't even know what this is. S, whatever that is. Just, like, you can do this with every regular stock, and you'll see the money flow and stuff like that, but every single meme stock, it's always the same exact image. It's money flows up and in, and it stays elevated the entire time. Like, it doesn't matter the ticker. It's only... All right, let me see Nile. I don't know Nile that well. Here, Nile. Up here, Nile's actually had some like hits as well. Like if you look here, the OBV is actually going down. So Nile is not the same. But I don't consider them a large meme stock. And I think they did have some selling pressure and Walmart. Money's flowing in, money's flowing out, money's flowing in, money's flowing out. Like, money's tanking on earnings. Look at this. So money's flowing out. Like, it's frustrating because it's every single meme stock. Like, real meme stock, they all look exactly the same on this indicators. So... All right. All right. This doesn't seem to help with the price. Yeah, and here's the thing. Like, all these stocks, I believe, or here's Aterian. Like, look at us. We go up here, we stay elevated, and then we run up, and now we've just stayed up here. And, like, we're down near, like, we're $1 off, like, 52-week lows, and we're still up here. Like... At some point it's going to pop just because I have a feeling that, they can't do this forever. And if they can, then we're going to lock up the entire float and we're going to be able to prove it because all it's going to take is us DRSing shares and then showing that we own the entire float. And then, we're going to expose that if that happens because... I've talked to you guys before and said that I have a friend that's a filmmaker and he's interested in this. We're trying to figure out how to fund this project, but I think there's a story here because I think there's something inherently wrong with the system that we're in right now. What price point are we calling this quits? This price does not matter. I feel like shorts will start covering if we start to close below 2. Yeah, I mean, here's my thing. Like, if it drops down below like $3 into the 2s again, I'm gonna buy because every time it's down here in this area, I'm buying. You know why? Because I think they don't have all the shares, and that's been my thesis the entire time. And so, until I'm proven wrong, then this will keep happening. All right. I don't think retail understands options. So many out of the money's got burned today. Yeah, Jonathan. The one thing you can say about me is I never claimed to tell retail to buy options that were out of the money. In fact, I said if you have no theta, then you have to buy deep in the money options. And what I can tell you is some people listened and they ended up in the money, and other people did not listen and they got their contracts burned. So, I'm very sorry, and I hope people didn't put more than they could risk down. The sad matter is that we should have probably made a higher move up had it not been for the 4% market crash on Wednesday, and then retail got just kind of spooked, I think. Either that or they spent all their money earlier in this area, and they just have nothing left in the gas tank, and we don't have new eyes coming onto the stock yet. So those who are patient will be rewarded. Yep, I agree with that. What do you think about UVXY with the market being how it is right now? Yeah, so if you're going to play UVXY, and this is not financial advice, but I'm just telling you, basically just be careful because you have to understand what UVXY is. UVXY is not a direct correlation with the VIX. UVXY is it's tracking the month 1 and month 2 futures, VIX futures. So just want to throw that out there. So you got to understand that's for like the entire market is falling apart and we're not sure if it's going to reopen. Like that's what happened with the pandemic. So there are other ways of like playing a downturn in the market. Just want to throw it out there. But you can play UVXY, just it's supposed to be for short periods. You don't hold it because there is constant theta decay that's happening on every single one of their like pricing. So they basically take like VIX options and they like put them in this ETF, but there's an element of theta decay with that. So just be careful with that. You're not supposed to hold it for long periods of time. How much were you up on puts this week? I didn't buy puts. I sold puts. So I sold some $4 puts, and those will, I got to sign them, so it's fine. Let's see. Tanking 50% in a short time. I see other meme stocks actually did much better in the last weeks. It depends on which ones you're like comparing it to. Like obviously BBIG had a catalyst event because they had the Tide, dividend. So we're going against other meme stocks right now that have news, whereas Aterian didn't have anything going on except for the gamma ramp. So my thoughts on June 3rd. I mean, honestly, I'm looking at this like it can still be a thing, and people may play this thing and it may be built up, even though it may not happen. I don't know. From what I read from the executive order, it sounded like they were just ending the executive order. I don't know if there was any specific thing that said that there was language that said like, oh, well, they can't use these, this is collateral anymore. Like that's what some people are interpreting it as, but I'm not sure if I read it that way. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of just looking at it from this aspect. I know for myself that I'm going to be going long, and I will buy basically anything down in this range. And even if it runs up, I will still continue buying. But I'm going to try to buy the majority of my position down here where they're consolidating. Where smart money consolidates, which is like here and here, this is where I'm going to be consolidating as well. So if you look up the correlation coefficient technical analysis indicators on TradingView, we are the only positive correlated with the SPY once we broke 430. Okay, that's cool. Rocky is my middle name. I didn't hear no bell, right? Yeah, BBIG, Nile, and other stocks correlated positive the entire time. ATER was negative, meaning once the run starts, people won't care about the SPY. Yeah, and that's true, and that's what happened here when we had that run up. The SPY was tanking a couple days, and we still ran up on red days. So. All right. All right. So 44 million cash doesn't get them in September. It depends on their cash burn. I looked and saw. I mean, it depends on what you're looking at, though, Jason. So, if you believe that they're going to still continue, I think they were doing like 12 before. But it seemed like it slowed down recently. So I don't know if they're spending that because they already have a bunch of inventory that's already in the States, Jason. So you have to account for that. They've got $70 million in inventory that's already in the States. So most of their expenses are already like actually made. So I don't think they have the same cash burn as the previous quarters. So there you go. There are some points I'd like to throw out there. Want to know. All right. Once again, I am now getting close to my time where I have to jump off, but let me just keep going through. Squatter potties for all. Okay, so that's us talking about the different tickers. Sorry if I didn't get to all of them, but the fact that people think that Tesla isn't a meme stock is all you need to know. I exercised half my calls, and now I'm sitting on 210K shares, averaging. Wow. Good job. Good job, Ben. Congrats. Yeah. I mean, blockchain eliminates the need for T+ system. I agree, and that needs to happen soon. It's not a money flow index. It's an indicator. So, yeah, you can actually look that up. Let's see. Yes, we're 100%, and we know it's rigged. It's a great point of retail going through overshorted stocks and keep them clamped down. Yeah, I mean, that's what they've been doing for a long time. But retail's being really annoying to them. So, all right. Am I better off with FAS, XQQ, or shorting? I mean, it all depends on what's really taking the biggest hit at the time. SQQQ is obviously the inverse of the QQQs, leveraged. FAS is a leveraged financials, which is like banks and other like financial institutions. So, yeah, the OVV is still up. All right, good night, Jerry. Have a good one. Could the market makers have special permission from the authorities to issue phantom shares onto the meme stocks to shake retail? Certainly this would come to light. I don't think it goes that way. I think they do have access to shares. Then I think they're there to quote unquote make a market, and whether or not that's why they're always willing to sell you shares or options, even if there are none, because they always have to make a market. So, that's how this T+ system works. Just throwing it out there. All right. Let's see. Sorry, more coming in here. All right. Yeah, I'll go back up. But how can the OBV and the price diverge for so long? Well, ask GameStop, because GameStop is the OG on that one. They've been doing it longer than most other ones. Like basically January of last year, and it's just been pinned up here. So, I mean, most of my money got burned today. Luckily, I've learned, and I'm playing it smarter this time around. Yep, and if you've got a job and you can, I will tell you this: you can always rebuild. You can learn from lessons. Yeah, and people that want to see this, yeah, like GameStop's been up here for a long, long time. Aterian had their run in about this time frame. But, GameStop had this way back in January. It's been up here since then. So, and the money hasn't flown out. So, yeah, when that green eye bot broke ranks on here and says they're nervous, don't sell. That's all I needed to see. Yep. Craig, I'm telling you. And they'll be back at some point too. So when the stock gets running again, we'll see them again at some point. But all right. Besides that, all right, guys. So I'll drink a beer with you right now. Everyone good? Let's talk about something besides stocks for a second. Everyone good? My thoughts on June 17th options chains. I mean, it's starting to get loaded. You can see that some people rolled their options from today onto those dates. So. If your options are close to the money, it's pretty cheap to roll to a later date. Yep. All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope you guys are good. Can we talk about something else you do besides drink scotch? Yeah. I don't know. Ask me a question. I'll see if I can answer it. Oh, it's taking you guys forever. All right. Well, then I go upstairs, and I will tell you guys all to have a great evening. And okay, here we go. Okay, someone says I have a dog. Oh, cool. I have a dog too. His name is Charlie. What are your hobbies? I don't really have time for hobbies anymore. I do some yard work and landscape around the house. Yeah, that's kind of it. Who runs the Discord? A bunch of people. We have like tons of mods, I think. We've got like something like 15, 20 mods. So, and I always try to make sure they're included in decisions. What happened if people only bought shares through the options chains, buying low theta in the money options and exercisings? I don't know. It's an interesting thought. I mean, it would make market makers probably hedge, but he dresses up and fights crime past 12 o'clock. I did watch Batman finally. I did get through most of it. I the last 10 minutes I think I missed, but at least it took me, I think, 2 weeks of like watching 15-minute clips before I'd fall asleep. It wasn't because it was bad. It was just I get done streaming at like 11:30 and then I come back up here. So I'm Batman. You're good people, and have a wonderful weekend. My dog's name's Nibbles because he chews on everything. All right, good stuff. And this weekend I'll be doing some yard work. It's gonna be hot though. I looked at the weather. I'm like, ugh. And my kids have a fair to go to tomorrow, so we'll be doing that. So I'll report in to you guys on Sunday night and let you know how it goes. Another bloody market day. Time to relax, have a sip drink. Yeah, good stuff. I was going to say, enjoy talking to everybody, and I want a Caucasian or Chachana. I feel bad. You go get one. Craig just built and launched a 10 by 10 dock pond. Nice. That sounds awesome. You should post a picture on the Discord. All right, guys. I'm going to go back up and enjoy my wife. But you guys have a great weekend, and I will go ahead and see you guys on Sunday evening. We'll kind of go over things, and then if you got any questions built up, go ahead and do it then, okay? All right, you guys take care.